Hey, what's going on, you guys? Rasati out here in Singapore, and it is a beautiful, beautiful evening. It's kind of cool outside, and I'm actually enjoying it. I've been watching a little bit of Daniel Sloss's comedy stand-up routine. He has two pieces of it on Netflix, and it's been quite interesting, actually, because I get to actually watch how he very deftly maneuvers real big issues with comedy. And it's a lot of what comedians are doing these days. I mean, they try to take the very, very difficult situations and experiences of their lives, or more importantly, a lot of social things that are going on at the moment. And they try really hard to bring attention to it and show you that, you know what, we're going about this the wrong way, or perhaps we're not considering certain aspects of the situations that we experience. So one part of his show is actually dedicated to the faith. And I like the way that he kind of threw everything in our faces with the line that our lifelong faith shouldn't be so easily shaken. And I really believe that, because let's think about this. We've had lifelong friendships, and we've had, relationships that we've been building from, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, that we're hoping, eventually we'll get married or something like that. We've had, relationships within the family that we're trying really hard to preserve and make sure that everyone is respected and well taken care of. But somehow or another, through the course of life and change and the inevitable upheaval that we all experience, something will happen, something will be said, and suddenly that lifelong bond is called into question. Now, nothing is more serious than religion, obviously, because most people have a very, very strict sense of what their faith is like, and how they pray, and how they believe the world is shaped and the world is influenced, and how they can go to heaven or end up in hell, or one of those ideas. But the point being that, how is it that if you believe so strong that this is the way things are, somebody who has a different opinion can upset you, though? I mean, if you already know that this is the way things are, no matter what anyone says, they shouldn't be able to shake your confidence. They shouldn't be able to upset you. Now, let me put this in terms of self-esteem instead. If I think I'm the shit, okay, maybe I think that I dressed fantastically well, which I don't, that my hair is just phenomenal all the time. It isn't. And that I have the best accent in the entire universe, because it's a hodgepodge of every place I've ever lived in. If I feel that great about myself, how is it possible that all it takes is for me to meet someone who appreciates who I am, and suddenly they start telling me about what they like and what they don't like, and suddenly I'm worried about whether I would offend them or I would upset them, and whether I'm actually enough? How is that possible? I mean, I already know I'm enough. I was great when I was single. I had no problems. I didn't have to worry about what anyone thought of me or how they perceived me or my value. It didn't matter. I don't care. I don't need you. I'm good. But if I were to start dating someone, suddenly all of their fears and their experiences and their traumas come to the surface, and they tell me, hey, you know what, I can't do this, and I don't appreciate that, and this kind of scares me, and I'm not sure about these kinds of behaviors. Suddenly I'm watching everything I do and watching everything that I am, and I'm suddenly worried that I will not be enough. So if it's taken me 30 years to get to love me, how can a relationship or a friendship like this rock me to my core? Let's think about this a different way, shall we? Let's think about our parents. We grow up in this idea that our bubble, our little house, is perfect. This is the way things are in the rest of the world. Everyone experiences this. I mean, my mom hits me if I'm bad. My dad yells at me if I'm bad. And you know what? Once they yell at me and they tell me what I did wrong, I can just correct, and I will be all right later. It won't be such a big deal, because this is the way things are. This is the way families are raised. And guess what? My little bubble, my little house, is also the same as my cousin's little house, and my uncle's little house, and my grandparents' little house, because guess what? Our family unit raises everybody the same way. But then I go to school in a different country, no less. And suddenly there is a bunch of other cultures that I have to deal with on a regular basis, because I spend, 6, 7 hours at school every day. And suddenly I'm hearing stories from their households about how they mouthed off to their parents and didn't get slapped. How they snuck out of the house and didn't get, beaten. How they didn't do so great in their grades, and they were told, you know what, it's okay, try again next time. And I'm thinking, huh? What? Are you serious? Because I thought my parents were perfect, and I thought this is the way life was, and I thought that, everybody lived the same way. But the more I talk to people and the more I hear more opinions, suddenly I'm wondering if my parents are the bad guys or not. Which until then, they were my heroes. So if my confidence was that strong, how can it be shaken. How could a simple conversation with somebody brand new that I don't know if I trust them or not, but I'm just taking everything they say at face value, how can they rock me to my core? How can my faith be so shaken? How is it one thing that doesn't line up with everything else I know can shake me so much? And that's the part I really want to understand. There are devout Christians out there, devout Hindus, devout Muslims. There are so many people out there that are very, very, very by the book. I know what the rules are. This is the way it is. And then something happens and it shows that it doesn't have to be that way. And suddenly you're wondering, well, what have I been believing all this time? Am I taking someone else's word for it? Have I experienced this for myself? Is this really the rule? But here's the clincher. We'll do this. We'll shake our confidence on religion. We'll take our confidence on our body image, on our relationships, on whether or not I'm good enough or not, whether I am the best of the best in my school or not. But we won't take the same privilege to rock our confidence when it comes to experiences we've lived through and similar experiences that we're getting ready to experience. Yes, I used the word twice. Don't yell at me, okay? What I'm trying to say is, one time, something happened and it was a bad outcome and I was very, very shaken by it, okay? And suddenly I was put in the same situation that feels very, very similar to that bad outcome experience that I had, that memory that I had, and I'm over here predicting that it's going to happen the same way. Even though there is a really big possibility that it won't. I'm going to cling to my faith then. I'm not going to let anything shake my faith then, because that is the rule. If some guy touches me, that's automatically going to become a situation where they get way too friendly and I won't be able to stop them from hurting me at some point. That's the experience I've had before. So how is it possible that in one case, one scenario, right, somebody tells you the opposite of what you believe and you suddenly get upset with them because, oh my God, how can you, that's blasphemy, how dare you say these things? And then you suddenly start questioning your faith because, well, I was faithful and I did believe. And why is it possible? How is it possible that this other experience can also exist in the same time frame, the same life that I lived? Like, how is this possible? But when it comes to trauma and pain, we are not willing to question the experience and see if it's the probability of the experience happening again. We're not willing to look at it like, oh no, there's 3 billion men out there and one guy happened to be a complete douchebag and hurt me, and now I'm going to decide that all guys are just like him because, you know what, I just want to stay safe. Now I get where you guys are coming from, but I need you guys to think about this. I'm not saying put yourself at risk every time, but what I am saying is consider the possibility that this might not end up the way that you've experienced it before. It may end up a different way. Yes, fear is supposed to keep us alive. It's going to keep us surviving. But what is the difference between surviving and thriving? Let me tell you, as a former victim, surviving means you just do the bare minimum to get through the next day. Thriving means I'm going to take risks again and I'm going to live my life the way I see fit. And I'm going to try to be happy and I'm going to try to do the things that make me excited about life again because I deserve to do those things. Fear keeps you in survival mode. Understanding, awareness, can get you into thriving mode instead. Now, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I want to hear from you. But in the meantime, consider this. We're very, very iffy about, our self-confidence and the way we feel about religion, because when one person brings another perspective to the table, you're like, whoa, wait, what? Are you serious? And whether you like it or not, at some point, you're going to go back and start questioning things. But when it comes to traumatic experiences, we're not so flexible. We're not so quick to give up the idea that, nope, I know. Every time this happens, that is the end result. And every time these kinds of people come into my circle, this is the result every time. Because I think it's really worth pondering a little bit. You've been in a bad situation. You've been through some rough stuff. I get it. But what is the possibility or the probability of that happening the exact same way again? Now, definitely protect yourself. Definitely stay aware in the situation and call a friend, phone a friend, helpline, whatever, escape however you need to if it starts going down that path. But don't self-sabotage and paint yourself into a corner is all I'm saying. So I'm hoping this made some sense, you guys. Let me know in the comments below. But in the meantime, you guys, I love you and you guys take care. I'll catch you again soon. Bye.